right.
Hi, this is David Hazen from LiveMusicStage. Welcome back to day 2 of Austin Tech Talk. We're kicking today off here with the president of CD Baby here next to me, Brian Felsen. Hey Brian, how you doing?
Howdy, how you doing?
Having a good South by so far?
Oh yeah.
Good. Well, I'm really glad to be speaking with you. I think a lot of people know something about CD Baby. You guys were the first in a lot of things, but why don't you start with the history and how you successfully transitioned from being a non-digital company to a digital king?
Well, CD Baby was started in 1999 by Derek Sivers in Woodstock, New York. He was a musician, and his artistic muse and or talents didn't exactly fit with major labels. So he decided, hey, all right, I'm just gonna set up a website and sell my music online by myself. And a couple of his band's friends said, hey, could you do that for me? And Derek says, well, sure. And they say, how much should we pay? And Derek says, I don't know, 35 bucks. So he says, great. So he made it for about 5 of his friends, and then before he knew it, he had over 200,000 friends. And then I was with Disc Makers in 2008, and so should I...
The thing about streaming is you can't say cut.
So we're still going.
Yes, but it won't be in the YouTube edition.
It won't be in the YouTube edition. All right, fair
So
enough.
should we just start over, guys?
Should we start over or start from
All
there?
right, you lucky viewers get to see the outtakes before the original. So here we go. Hi, I'm David Hazen from LiveMusicStage. Welcome back to day 2 of Austin Tech Talk. I have here with me the president of CD Baby, Brian Felsen. Hi, Brian.
Hi, how you doing?
CD Baby was the first successful digital company with its roots in the analog business. So it's a great story, Brian. Tell us how you became a CD duplicator into the first hugely successful digital music company.
Well, CD Baby was started in 1999 by Derek Sivers. In his garage, he was a musician whose artistic muse and or talents didn't exactly fit with the major labels. So he set up a website to sell his own music online. And some of his friends were like, hey, could you do that for me? And Derek says, sure. And they said, I'll pay you 35 bucks. And Derek said, okay. So he did it for 5 of his friends, and before he knew it, he had over 200,000 friends. So I was with Disc Makers. We bought the company in 2008, and you know, since then we've been expanding into all kinds of different things, digital and otherwise, and now we have over 300,000 musicians and manage almost 5 million tracks.
It's quite a repertoire. What was it that made you go towards digital distribution?
Digital basically started with iTunes. We were on the iTunes store at launch when they had the iPod in 2003 or 2004. And then since then we've been distributing to over 60 other retail stores all over the world. So now we're getting into not only new territories where we've never been before, and phones and other platforms, but also different countries and direct-to-fan things like our Facebook music store, and sync royalties, and getting people paid for their plays on YouTube, and all kinds of other stuff. Foreign mechanicals, registration, all kinds of other ways for artists to make money than just CDs.
A lot of companies want to position themselves as friends of musicians, but you guys really were able to do it, and I think a lot of it had to do with the personal nature of blogs, because of the trust that you built when you came up with new opportunities to partner with your army of artists to mutual benefit. It seems that you had greater receptivity among your bands when you went out to them with something new.
Yeah, our whole philosophy is about the independent artist and the independent musician, and that's true for all of our brands. So whether you sell no copies or 1 copy, or whether you sell 1 million copies, we don't charge you annual fees, so that way you won't have to pay every year if you have like dozens of releases. We don't. We're one of the rare internet companies that answer the phone, and we have 46 customer service people there to help you. We have free guides and blog posts on all aspects of the music business, even ones that aren't directly related to the company, like touring and promotion and other things. So we're really all about the independent musician and everything we do, and pricing, customer service, and the advice and help that we give.
That's great. What are some of the other areas that you've been getting involved with on a more recent basis?
For musicians or other non-musician artists?
For musicians first, and then the book stuff.
Well,
we'll talk about.
For musicians, as I say, we've been doing a lot of direct-to-fan type of things. So we've got a Facebook music store, so you can sell your music on Facebook. YouTube has really taken off, so we're helping artists get paid a share of the advertising revenue that Google places against their ads on YouTube, as well as
do you do your own channel, or do you help artists start their own channel?
Well, it's interesting. We do audio matching. We have a partnership now with Rumblefish, so that way if anybody uses your song or a snippet of it on YouTube, we detect it, and then you can get paid a percentage of the money that Google makes from the ads placed against any of the videos.
That's fantastic.
So
that's
really
totally found revenue for
Yes.
the artist. None of the independent artists would have any way of even tracking, let alone collecting that income.
Yes, and
it's
some of the checks are really adding up.
And it's growing too. It'll continue to be that way. Give me an idea of other companies that are in your space, and while you don't need to name them necessarily, what is it that you think you do better, or at least differently?
I mean, there are plenty of other companies out there that do one or another aspect of distribution. I mean, distribution in and of itself is not hard. What sort of differentiates us is, firstly, the customer service. Secondly, we have our own retail store, so we only take 9% of the back end. So, for example, if iTunes takes 30% and we take 9%, you'll make about 61 cents on a download of a single, or $6.10 from an album. But if you sell on cdbaby.com or direct to fan on Facebook, you get to make 91 cents. We only take 9% no matter what you do. And so we have all the blog advice, customer service.
And you don't have a fee, correct?
No, there's
Unlike
no
other
annual
services,
fees. No
there's
annual fees whatsoever. So you're on there, forever. So that's really cool.
Well, that must have been when other unnamed companies recently put their fees up substantially. That must have resulted in somewhat of an exodus, I would think.
Yeah, we've gotten a huge flood of people coming in, and we've actually had to hire customer service people to handle the incoming. So it's been, we've now soared past 300,000 artists, so it's really gone great. The thing that's most surprising, actually, is we're having a big increase in physical distribution sales, which I never expected, because it had been on a decline for a while, and it still is industry-wide, but we were up 25% year over year in physical CD sales. And
we're not talking vinyl here.
No, well, okay. Vinyl is up double, but up double with vinyl means that we've gone up to about 2% of our business.
Yes.
But
it looks great in percentage terms.
Exactly.
But in real
terms,
perhaps a little less.
But for physical, we attribute it to our new deal with Alliance, which is helping get artists in 15,000 ma and pa record stores all over the world, including on Amazon.com and Best Buy and Target. And
how does that work? How can they select from your huge army of bands? How does an independent mom and pop store know what can be available?
They
what
can
be ordered?
They can get a feed of the top sellers, or they can choose and pick and choose and search through our catalog by one of our 850 genres, or by recommendations.
What about by market, by geography?
Absolutely.
Well, that's great. So a store can see what independent bands are doing well,
yes,
and get the CDs in the stores.
But even if you're not doing well, they can have it available in their catalogs on consignment, so somebody can come in or go to their website and request it, and then we can drop ship it. So the whole catalog of about 260,000 unique titles that we have available in physical can be available at these stores as well.
There's a lot of talk about how the casual fan won't even pay $5 a month to stream all the music they can eat, but the supercore hardcore fans, there seems to be no limit, especially with some of the experiential menus that are getting offered up by new companies and by companies that are sort of adding it to their menu. I think that you have the opportunity to really provide to the bands whatever new opportunities are coming up there, because you've got the credibility base and you're the good guys.
Yeah, we've signed so many new streaming partners, and we're in all the major players, RDO, Spotify, Rhapsody, and you name it. But what's interesting is that we're also signing lots of deals with like cell phone providers, like, we're on Cricket, and we're on Mobile PCS, and we're on a lot of different markets where different demographics would be able to discover music, different countries, and even continents. And it's really, one thing I find interesting is that our streaming revenues are double of last year, but it has not cannibalized our CD sales or download sales, all of which are up. So we're just providing maximum opportunities for people to discover music and hopefully buy it.
People want to stream, listen to, and buy music, whatever they're doing, and they should have the choices available to them.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone would suggest that people are maxing out. Everyone says more music's being consumed than ever, and at some point becomes the responsibility of the industry or collective linked industries to figure out ways to get the customers what they want.
Yeah.
You know, the fan that won't pay $5 a month as a standalone, that same fan might have no problem with an extra $10 going on their cell phone bill every month for all the music that can be streamed. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's too far away from being sorted out. What would you like to see a band do utilizing services or assets you provide that hasn't yet been done?
I would like to see bands take advantage of the internet, of social media in particular, to be able to discover new musics, improve their craft, and hook up with people that excel in aspects of their craft that they don't yet. Meaning that some bands are great writers but don't have a good voice. Some bands are great performers but don't have a good producer. Some people can make beats but don't have good material. And bands spend so much time and energy either wasting time on the internet or trying to promote themselves. And if bands could use the internet to engage with their communities, network and meet with their heroes, they could actually become inspired and make better product that A, would be more likely to sell, B, with the networks would have more likely to cross genres and territories, and C, help them develop more lifelong relationships on a personal level, and D, if all else fails, they'll be able to look back and say they made great art.
That's a great thought. Artists training artists instead of online professors.
Well, and collaboration, more than just promotion, really just about collaboration.
Well, there are some...
See, they like what I had to say. They're all applauding it.
That was the poll. So instead of collaborative programs that already exist, like Indaba, for example, you're talking about creating content and product and training as well?
Well, sure. Not just Indaba and these other companies are fantastic in terms of allowing for collaboration, but artists are already involved on YouTube, on their channels, on Twitter, and on Facebook. And too much of what I see is like broadcasting, like, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me, and you know, buy this and look at what I'm doing, and that's all great. But if you get into an engaged dialogue with your community, an engaged dialogue with other musicians in your genre that are your heroes, you could actually get inspired by other musics, by other producers, other engineers, and you could work together or learn from them to improve your craft as well.
Could you please let me know what you think the single most important issue is in the music industry right now, and what role you see yourself and CD Baby playing in that?
There's no single important issue in the music industry. I guess maybe it is the potential for commoditization of the music, so that way music continues to become not something that's focused on, like the days where people would sit and listen to an album through headphones and eagerly await it and have a lack for product, but where it's become so easy to make and so easy to consume that it's almost devalued, that it becomes like a background for a video, like Gangnam Style, or it becomes like just a background to surfing the web and talking to other people about what you've been listening to, or exclusively sync licensing. And that is a challenge, and I think that it's important for artists to try during this period to monetize their music in every way that they can and to keep improving. And we're helping artists with direct-to-fan things like being able to sell your music everywhere, direct-to-fan or on cdbaby.com or on a Facebook music store or on every possible digital retailer worldwide and the watering holes where people buy music. but also to be able to help them get money from their plays on YouTube, to help them get money from their overseas mechanical and performance royalties that were sitting in a black box. So our job is to make it easy for musicians to monetize their music as much as possible so they could become better and more fulfilled creators and really focus on what matters.
What other companies are there out there in the digital music space specifically that you really admire, that you think are really doing a great job?
There are a lot of companies, some of the retailers have just great products, and I can't single one out because we're agnostic, but there's certain things I like about all of them. I love Apple's hardware devices, I love Rdio's app, I love Rhapsody's pioneering thing with streaming. There's a lot of different models out there that do a really good job. And then there's a lot of companies like our competitors that do certain things well. To say that I admire the company that I work for sounds a little disingenuous, but I'm really, really, really in love with some of the artists that come in and have a really original vision and just do this and can express themselves and are committed to being beautiful artists. And our customer service team and our desire to help them is really what's most important to me. That's what's most fulfilling about what I do.
Great. Now tell me how you got involved with the book business.
The book business was funny because a lot of our artists are authors in some way or another. A lot of our musicians either have written a book or have written instructional books and sheet music or have blogs about touring, and it was kind of like just because we give iTunes more music than anybody else or because we have the largest catalog, just meeting with the retailers and you see that, wow, Amazon's got this amazing device, the Kindle, or Apple has this iPad coming out, and there's these great new platforms for people to read and discover books. And we realized that we had all of the accounting mechanisms, we had all the digital delivery mechanisms in place, and there was a need for independent authors to get their books into the same watering holes where people buy and discover books, just like music, on the same stores, and have a central accounting thing and have a fair model where we don't take much of a shave. So it was like, this just seemed like a natural thing to do. We didn't know it would take off this much, but it just seemed like a nice thing to do.
And what's coming up for you and all your companies and all your products?
Just a lot more. If I told you, I'd have to kill you type thing. But no, that's
Cameras are rolling here.
That's a joke. There's so many developments on the roadmap for better ways for artists to monetize their music. I just got back from EDM and signed a lot of international deals, so we'll be in new and more territories, and then just a lot more direct-to-fan tools to help them, just cool ways to help them sell music and hopefully get it discovered.
You've mentioned direct-to-fan tools a number of times. What is the greatest direct-to-fan need that artists have, your artists, where there's no existing tool to get that job done or to do that job as well as it could?
The tools all exist. It's really just about the ease of using and populating them and the ease of doing the fulfillment. So anybody could set up a website, for example, or anybody could have a widget, but then how do you fulfill CDs? How do you easily update all the profiles? How do you even get an audience to your watering hole to discover your music? And that's really what we're working on.
All right, Brian, well, thank you very much. Great talking to you.
I loved it. Thanks a lot.